Hi everyone, this is Dr. Adil Maqbool. Came here to bring you a few more topics related to the sales and marketing management, and this is related to Unit 3, which is concerned with the concept of the product, product mix, product line, product length, product width, and product life cycle, product new product development, and many more topics. So this lecture will be a wonderful lecture, as I hope, and I hope you all will enjoy this lecture, which is a very interesting lecture, which is related to the product, how a consumer can develop a product, what are the different product lines, and many more topics will be covered today in this lecture. So now today we are going to explain concept of the product, product mix, product line, product life cycle, product positioning, which is also a very important part, that how to develop a product's image into the mind of the consumers. New product development, which is also a parallel activity which every organization has to do if they feel that the product has a certain life cycle, and once the product has been adopted by the consumers, there will a time come when the product the consumer will leave the product and he will be in need of a new product. So we will discuss the new product development and product life cycle in this unit. Brand management will also be discussed here. Packaging, which is also an important part, and I consider it as the fifth P of marketing mix, because packaging is a very good attraction towards the product, and the consumers may also look for the packaging of a product, then they buy the product. Concept and nature and scope of product. Pricing is also important, because pricing is that aspect of a product. The entire sales depend upon that. Objectives and strategies of the pricing will be discussed here. So let's start with the concept of a product, product mix, and product line. So what do you think? What is the concept of the product? And before knowing the concept of the product, it is important that we have to understand what exactly the product is. So let's know what exactly a product is important to understand. So here I have discussed that a product is anything offered to a market to satisfy a need or want. This is a very basic and very simple definition. We are not talking about the tangibility or the intangibility of the product. Here we are considering both the tangible as well as the intangible product. So it can be a physical product, a service, or an idea, or an experience which is also been important to be sold. So in other words, we can say a product is a core offering a business provides to meet consumer needs or wants. It can be a physical item, a service, an idea which is an intangible, or a combination of both services as well as the product, which is a very common feature nowadays. You can find that every product has a certain service along with that, and the consumer will also see the service are available or not, then they take the decision to buy the product. So a product includes not just the tangible features or attributes, but also the benefits, the quality, the packaging, the branding, and overall the value that customer receive against the amount they are expending for buying that product. Now come to the definition of the product. So according to the father of the marketing, Philip Kotler, a product is anything that can be offered to a market for attention, acquisition, use, or consumption, and that might satisfy a want or a need of a customer. Like this, the Peter D. Bannett also has given us a definition, which is here as a product may be an idea, a physical entity, or a service, or any combination of these three. It may be an idea, it may be a service, or it may be a tangible product. It exists for the purpose of exchange in the satisfaction of individual and organizational objectives. This is the two basic definitions given by the Bennett as well as the Philip Kotler. I have mentioned here in this slide. Now come to the different concept of the product. There are four basic concepts: physical concept, service concept, augmented concept, and total concept. What is physical concept? Physical concept is known as the traditional concept which has a traditional existence in it. In this concept, physical goods have the physical features like color, name, size, shape, etc. It can be touched, seen, and transformed from one person to another person. So this is the basic physical concept. As far as the service is concerned, service cannot be transformed, and a person cannot be the owner of a service. If you are buying a plane ticket, you cannot buy a product which is in the physical form, physical shape. So that is a service which is also known as the intangible product. Now the service concept, according to this concept, product cannot be seen, touched or smell. It cannot be owned, as I told you earlier, and the ownership cannot be transformed from one person to another person. So it cannot be separated from the service providers. Education, hair cutting, consultancy, services, etc. are the example of service concept. As I mentioned here, that it cannot be separated from the service provider. If you will not offer your head, nobody is able to cut your hair. So it is important that you have to offer your head, then the hair cutter will set your hairs. Otherwise it is not possible. So you have to be physically present there in front of the service provider, then only the service cannot be possible. Augmented product. This is also very interesting concept. This concept combines tangible as well as intangible both activities, or a combination of both. So therefore the service like warranty, free repair, maintenance, manual or guides, etc. provides to increase the sales are augmented product. For example, while buying a computer, the buyer not only buys the physical computer but also buy the free installation, free repair and maintenance, packaging, etc. And also the service center is available or not. That is very important part. So nowadays we can say every product is a physical product and every product is a intangible service, and combination of both is important for the customers to buy a product. The total product concept is that which I am telling you. This concept combines tangible as well as intangible and augmented product concept. The best example of an augmented product is that if you are going to hire a room in a hotel, and it is written that you will get a good room and nothing as far as the food is concerned will be provided to you. But if they offer you a complimentary coffee or a pick and drop, that will be an augmented product which is along with the product. So this is the total augmented concept, which is also very important in the modern concept of marketing, where the consumer buy the product and keeping a view that this product is they are buying only the tangible part or the intangible part also. So these are the different types of the product. Basically the product is of two types, that is the consumer goods or products and industrial goods or products. As far as the consumer goods are product, they may be a convenience goods, means the things which we daily need to survive. It means the necessities like the food grains, the wheat, the rice, the tea, the sugar, the milk, everything which we have to use to live is comes under the convenience goods, in which convenience goods are those goods you will not be very much interested in looking for the different brands or different company names, then you will buy it. But that is important in the shopping product, which is one step ahead, the convenience good, in which you also be careful in buying these products and these products you have to choose amongst the different alternatives, one product or two products. Specialty products are those products which are generally buy by the customers through a proper planning. Then if a customer is going to buy a car or a fridge or a washing machine or a house or a flat, they have to look for, and they have to plan how much amount I have to pay mm, as a as an immediate amount, and the rest of the amount will have to finance from different companies. And you have to look for the schemes provided by different banks or different financial institutions as far as the loan which you will opt for buying this product is concerned. And the last is the unsought product. These are the products for are unplanned. Generally you see that when you go in a mall, you have to see different products which are lying near the invoice counter, like different types of caps, socks, chewing gums, ice creams, some drinks, some you may have some counter of cosmetics. So these are have to put along with near the invoice counter, because if your mind is not made but you have to see the product, when you see the product your mind may be changed and you can buy it. So these products are called unsought products. Now come to the other side, the right side, which is industrial goods or products in which the raw materials concerned. Raw materials are those products or materials which are used to produce a product. For example, the fabric. Fabric is used to produce the shirts, trousers. Denim fabric is used to produce the jeans. So that is raw material, means the material which is as alone cannot be utilized unless until it is to be processed. So raw material are always processed to convert them into a finished goods. Fabricating parts and materials comes under the industrial goods. These are the different accessories we use for making a final product. Some oils are used, some in the case of the shirts the buttons are used, the thread is used, the fusing is used, and different other materials which are also to be used to manufacture the shirts. Installation is also required in the certain machineries, or some additional components are to be put in the sewing machines if you are going to have a different stitching order, like double needle machines or single needle machines or any other kind of certain components that can be put into the machine in order to make them to produce the products which you like. Accessory and equipment are also comes under the industrial goods which are used in the, for example, packaging material, and plastic bags and carton boxes in which the individual shirts are put. And if you are making a big box of 10 shirts, then you will have need a carton box, big carton box, in which you will have to put the shirts. These are the accessories which are operating supplies like electricity, oils, thread, and any other consumable comes under the operating supplies. Now come to the topic 2, that is related to the product mix or product line. What is product mix? Product mix, also known as product assortment, refer to the total number of product lines that a company offers to its customers. And the product lines may range from one to many, and the company may have many products under the same product line as well. All these products lines, when grouped together, form a product mix of the company. And now come to the example here. For example, the ITC. ITC is a company which is having a different product lines. They have a product line for producing cigarettes, they have a product line for producing foods, they have a product line for producing stationaries. Classmate is a stationery, food Ashirwad is a product of ITC, and cigarettes Gold Flag or Wills are the part of a different line which is related to the smoking products. And the last line or many more lines are also there, but the last line is the Will Sport, means here they produce the garments, the ready-made garments they produce in the brand Will Sport. So these are the 3-4 lines which are related to one company, that is ITC. So this is the best example I can explain here. The product mix is the subset of marketing mix, that is product is the second part. First part of the marketing mix is an important part of business model of a company.
सर फरीना मैम को कहाँ पर है कैबिन?
Now come to the next part, that is product line. So the product line is the subset of the product mix. The product line generally refers to a type of a product within an organization. So as the organization can have a number of different types of a product, it will have a similar number of product lines. Thus, here in Nestle, there are milk-based products like Milkmaid, food product line like Maggi, chocolate product line like KitKat, and other such product lines. Thus, Nestle's product mix will be a combination of all the product lines within the company. So this is the similar example I have given to you about the ITC. Now come to the company. This is the chart which shows what is product line, what is product mix, what is product depth. Everything can be explained here in this example. So here is an example. For example, a company have one product line, as I told you, the food line of ITC, product line 2, that is for example the stationery line of ITC, and third is the product line 3, for example the cigarettes. So these 3 lines altogether called production or a product width. Now what is product length? So before knowing the product length, it is important to know what is product depth. For example, in product line, last product line, there is a 1 product, 2, 3, 4 product. For example, this product line is related to the furniture, and this product line is furniture, means product depth will be tables, chairs, double beds, and for example office tables or office furniture. So these are 4 product lines under one product line, that is called product depth. And in product line 1, for example, it is a food, Ashirwad, Sunfeast, or any other biscuits which are produced by the ITC, that comes under this. So altogether 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 comes under the product length. So this chart shows product mix will be consistent if all the products in all the lines, product lines, are more or less similar. That is called product consistency. Here I have explained these things in words that will be useful for you. So the width of a mix refers to the number of product lines the company has to offer. For example, Tata produce buses, Tata produce trucks, Tata produce consumer cars, Tata produce SUVs, Tata produce sedan cars, Tata produce refrigerators, Tata produce air conditioners, Voltas. So these are the different product lines of Tata. So for example, if a company produces only soft drinks and juices, so this means it mix is 2 product wide. Coca-Cola deals with juices, soft drinks, and mineral water, and hence the product mix of Coca-Cola is 3 products wide. This is a basic example. Now come to the product length. The length of the product mix refers to the total number of products in a mix, as I told you earlier in the diagram. That is, if a company has 5 product lines and 10 products each under these product lines, so the length of the mix will be 50, 5 into 10, as I have counted 10 different products in all the 3 product lines in the diagram above, in the above slide. So product line, now come to the product line depth. The depth, as I told you, different variants of a product a company produce. For example, Consumer cars. The Tata produces SUVs, Tata produces sedan, Tata produces mini SUVs, Tata produces economy cars, Tata produces jeeps, Tata produces big SUVs. So there are different variants are available in one consumer car that comes under the product depth. Product line consistency means the similar product a company produce. So product based consistency refer to how closely products are linked to each other. So all comes under the automobile, consumer cars. But different cars of a consumer, all are the consumer cars, but they have different variants. So less the variation amongst the product, more is the consistency. So for example, a company dealing in just dairy products has more consistency than a company dealing in all types of electronics, because all the products they are produced with the help of the milk available in the company. Now here I have given an overview of product mix and product line. You should not be confused with the product mix and product line. So a product mix is a group of everything a company sells. Clear? All the things that are produced by a company comes under the product mix. However, the product line is a subset of a product mix. Means in the diagram I have shown three lines. The first is one product line, second is the another product line, third is the another product line. I have given the example of the food products, the garments, the cigarettes and the stationery. So these are the four different product lines of a product mix, that is ITC. So a product line refers to unique product category or product brand a company offers. For example, Patanjali deals in different categories of products, which include shampoo, flour, toothpaste. Shampoo here forms a different product line, flour forms a different product line as well, and so does toothpaste also. However, where they all are grouped together, they form the product mix of Patanjali. Clear? Now this is the third topic, which is related to the product life cycle. As you know that you are also a customer and you will be fed up by using one particular product for a long time. So every product has a certain product life cycle. Means there will be a time comes you will be fed up with that product and you leave that product and look for a new product with the new features, new attributes, new brand name, new packaging, everything. So this is the tendency of a product which has been shown through the diagram. Every product has to be passed from the introductory state, growth stage, maturity state, declining state, and the last is the death stage. So the product life cycle, which is also known as PLC, is a fundamental business concept that describes the stages of a product goes through from its initial idea development, that is the introduction stage, as shown in the diagram. You can see the first column, idea generation or development, to its eventual removal from the market. Understanding the PLC helps business make informed decisions regarding marketing. So pricing and resources allocation at each phase is to be done. The product life cycle is typically broken down into 4 or 5 main stages, which are shown here: introduction, growth, maturity, decline, or you may also include the last is the death stage of a product. So here I have explained these stages. Introduction stage means the time when you introduce a product into the market. So the product is launched into the market, sales are low, very low, because consumers do not know that this product is also there in the market. Costs are high and the focus is on building awareness and establishing a consumer base. Cost is high because this is the stage where you develop the product. So you have no idea of the different raw materials available in different places. So once you will enter into the production of this product, you will have more idea about cheap raw materials, accessories and other products. So the cost, the price of the product will slowly decrease and your profit margin will increase. Second is the growth stage. This stage is that stage the consumer know that this product is available in the market, and this product has a unique features. So the sale will be boosted. So sales and public awareness increases that stage rapidly. As more consumers adopt the product, competition may begin to emerge and profitability start to rise. So here at this stage, the consumer earn maximum profit through the revenue generated, the sales of that product. Now comes to the maturity stage. This is the third stage. The sales start going slow. So sales growth slow down as the market becomes saturated. Profit margins may shrink due to increase in competition, because at the introductory stage nobody knows that this product is also available in the market. Now the competitors are mature and they know that this product or similar product can be developed, so they develop. Here I give the example of the Ericsson. The Ericsson was the introducer of a mobile phone in 1994-95. There was no company was manufacturing mobile phones. Only the Ericsson was the manufacturer of the mobile phone, and the price of that time mobile phone was 60,000 rupees, and the size was a very big size, and also the weight was also very heavy mobile phone. But now you can see how thin the mobile phones are available in the markets. So decline stage is the fourth stage, which is almost the last stage. Sales and profit begin to fall. The consumers are fed up with the products. The product is either phased out or the company pivots to new product or or market. So at this stage, the marketers, they think that the consumers are now fed up and they introduce the new product, and that product has been waved off from the market. Why the product life cycle is important? This is very important because every company or a marketer, they have to have the product life cycle and the new product development procedure in their company. So this is important for strategic guidance. It helps companies determine the most effective marketing and pricing strategies for that particular stage or where the product is. Profit maximizing. By understanding the cycle, business can optimize their approach to maximize profitability throughout the product's life cycle. Innovation, it highlights when a company needs to innovate or develop new product, as I told you, to place those in the declining stage or maturity stage. So for the resource planning, the product life cycle is also important. It assists with the forecasting and planning for resource allocation, inventory and future development. Now come to the topic 4, that is product positioning. So here the product positioning. So the fourth topic is product positioning, which is also an important. So product positioning is the strategic process of creating a unique image and identity for a product or a service in the minds of target customers. So it involves differentiating the product from the competitors to occupy a favorable space in the consumer's perception, influencing purchasing decisions by highlighting its value proposition and how it solves a specific problem. So a successful position is based on deep understanding of the target market's needs and preferences. So here I have shown a chart where you can see the stages start from the market segmentation. Here you have to convert the heterogeneous market into small homogeneous products to develop profile, identify base for segmenting the market. The market means the population, that you have to segment that population according to certain demographic, geographic or psychographic, or there are many factors. On the basis of that you have to segment the market. To identify bases means the factors for segmenting the market, develop profile of resulting segments, then come to the targeting. Targeting means from that particular segment you have to target a certain certain consumer base on which you have to work, and then your sale will also be increased. So here you will have to develop measures of segment activitiveness है ना. So here what you will do, select the target segments. Now come to the market positioning, means you have to position your product into the minds of the consumers. To develop the position for each target segments, develop marketing mix for each target segment, because there are different segments. For example, the niche marketing. Niche marketing means, I give the example of the shampoo. The shampoo which the company produce for the general consumers is different, and the shampoo they produce for the beauty parlors is different. So that is the niche sector. So that start from segmenting, targeting, and last is the product positioning. Positioning doesn't means distribution. Never confuse with the distribution of the products or placement or place, the fourth P. It is related to positioning the product here in the mind of the consumers. And if you ask you, give me one mosquito repellent, and you will not say give me a mosquito repellent, you will say give me one all out, you will say good night, because these are the two brands who have positioned their product into the mind of the consumers. So instead of asking for mosquito repellent, they say good night or all out. So this is best example of the product positioning. Here I have given the example, one of the definitions given by the Philip Kotler. Positioning is the act of designing a company's offering and image to occupy a distinctive place in the target market's mind. Clear? Now topic 5 is new product development. I have already told you product life cycle and new product development. These are the two parallel lines of a railway track. So where the product is reaching towards the maturity or declining stage, new product is coming from the other side. So new product development, which is denoted by NPD, is the structured process of creating a new product from an initial idea to market launch. It involves key stages like idea generation, screening of that idea, concept development, business analysis, then product development, then market testing, whether this product will be set in the market or fit in the slot of that market or not, and at last the commercialization of the product. Means finally you have to launch the product into the market in the big quantities. So this structured approach helps business validates ideas, align them with customers' needs, and minimize the risk of failure. So here in this diagram, new product development process, I have given the different stages. The first is idea generation, where the idea comes or ignite in the minds of the entrepreneur or the startup, and then idea screening. He will see whether this idea will be fit in the present market or not. So they will screen that idea. And the third is the concept development and testing. They will develop a prototype of that product. If it is, we are talking about a physical product, or if we are talking about providing a service, they will know that in this particular area how many gyms are there. If he is planning to open a gym, then market strategy development, how you will attract the customers towards your gym, your product. So this is the fourth stage. At the fifth stage, business analysis. This is very important. This is the research part, market research part. You have to do the analysis through distributing the questionnaires or asking using the interview method or focus group method or any other research method that you can use to know the demand of your products in the markets. Then product development. According to the research report, you have to take decision of product development. Then you will develop the product in bulk, and then you will have to test the market. You send the samples, prototype in the market to know the consumers' view, feedback about this product. And if they feel that the consumers are very much interested in your product, they like your product, they are giving you the positive feedback, then you have to commercialize the product, which is the 8 steps of new product development. What is the benefit of a structured new product development process? Reduce risk of validating ideas and testing products. The process helps avoid costly mistakes and common pitfalls, saves time and money of the marketers as well as the entrepreneurs identifying problems early in the process, makes them cheaper and easier to fix, improve product quality. This process emphasizes gathering customers' feedback, which helps ensure the final product meets customer expectations and also increases the focus. A clear step by step framework helps keep them aligned on its goals and also the task. And the last, boost competitive advantage. NPD helps companies being innovative products to market them that can gain market share. So these are the different benefits as I have explained here related to the new product development process. Now come to the sixth topic, that is brand management. Brand management is the strategic process of creating and maintaining a positive and consistent brand identity to build customer loyalty and differentiate a product from competitors' product. It involves defining brand values, creating cohesive messaging and visual elements, and managing the overall customer experience across all the platforms. So the goal is to enhance the brand's perceived value, drive long-term success, and build a strong lasting relationship with the target audience. So here in this diagram you can see the value, the design, the trust among the consumers about the company, the strategy of the company for selling that product, the brand logo, the image, marketing mix of the company, advertising process of the company, and identify the customers' loyalty that comes under this brand management. Key principles and components. So effective brand management revolves around a few core principles. What are these principles? I have discussed here. Brand positioning and differentiation of the product, defining what makes the brand unique and how it stands out from competitors in the market to appeal to a specific target audience. It means that what is the unique selling proposition of your product. That is very important, that everybody is ready to offer a product, but how your product is different from the competitor's product is very important. Second is the consistency, ensuring a cohesive brand identity. You should not compromise in the quality with the product, the colors of the product, including visual elements, logo, colors, fonts, and messaging, tone or voice values, mission across all internal and external communication channels and customer touch points. So there should be a consistency in all these things which I have explained here. The customer centric approach is also one of the important component or principle, which means fostering an emotional connection and building trust by consistently delivering a positive customer experience that gains with the brand promise. And next is the adaptability, monitoring market trends, consumer needs, and the competitive landscape to evolve the brand strategy without losing its core identity and values. So that is called adaptability. How the consumers are doing. We are talking about the EV cars. So what is the adaptability of the EV cars amongst the customers nowadays? Some of the customers, they have a positive experience, they have a positive image of the EV cars, and some have a very negative image of the EV cars. So that is the adaptability, how the consumers have adopted your products is important to know. And the last is the internal alignment, ensuring that the employees understand and embody the products, the brand's value, as they are crucial in delivering the intended customer's experience. That is called internal alignment of the product. Why brand management is important? In every company, brand management plays a very important role. The brand manager also plays a very important role, and that is related to the differentiation. Now, a strong brand identity helps a business stand out in a crowded marketplace amongst the competitors. You should stand different. You know, why the consumers are buying the shirts from the Color Plus? Because they have a unique colors. They provide the unique colors of shirts. So they have, as the name suggests, the company's colors choices are very different from others. Customer loyalty is the second important part, that is consistent and positive brand experience build trust, encouraging repeat businesses. Like if we are talking about in the shoes, the Nike, the Adidas, the Red Tape, they have developed an image in the mind of the customers. So if they are talking about the leather shoes, they always prefer Ambassador, they always prefer Bata, they always prefer Red Tape. As far as the sports uh, shoes are concerned, they will prefer Adidas, Nike. If they are talking about the comfort, the Skechers, so that is the image. Everything is as an image. For the next is the market perception. A strong brand reputation allow a company to command a premium price and remain a top choice for customers. This is also important. And the last is the business growth. The effective brand management supports long-term growth by creating a loyal customer base by increasing brand equity. This is very important aspect of as far as the job of a brand manager is concerned. Branding versus marketing. This is also very important aspect that everybody should know, that what is the difference between branding and marketing. So we have taken the three aspects, focus, scope and matrix. In brand management, as far as the focus is concerned, building and maintaining a long-term brand image, reputation and equity in the mind of the customers. As far as the marketing concerned, executing short-term campaigns and tactics, example advertising and other promotional activities to drive sales and generate leads. As far as the scope is concerned, strategic involving the entire organization and aligning internal behavior with the brand promise. The marketing aspect is broader and often tactical, focusing on the external communication channels to reach target markets. So this chart is very important to understand the basic difference between the branding and marketing. As far as the metric is concerned, measures intangible aspects like brand loyalty, trust, perception and equity. On the other hand, the marketing evaluates tangible metrics like sales revenue, return on investment, conversion rate and customer acquisition cost. That comes into the marketing aspect. Come to the topic 7, that is packaging. I have shown here certain products whose packaging you can see in the pictures. So packaging is a process of enclosing or protecting products. I give this packaging the 5th position in the 4 P's of marketing, because this is also nowadays an important aspect. Packaging is the process of enclosing or protecting products from distribution, storage, sales and use. So it includes the science, art and technology of creating the containers, the wrappers and other materials that protect goods, communicate brand information. You can see the informations on the bottle of a Pepsi, a bottle of this edible oil present here, vegetable oil, the pouches which are available of oil or milk or any other. The packaging serves as a protective barrier, a marketing tool and a source of product information. That's why I give more importance to the packaging, because it attracts the consumer towards the product. These are few functions of the packaging. I have told you protection is the first and the basic function. It protects the product from pilferages, safeguard products from damage during the transit, handling, and storage prevention issues like communicating containment or spoilage. Logistic, it is helpful in distribution channel, organizes and secure goods and for efficient shipping and handling purpose. For marketing also, as I told you, why I have given the fifth position, act as a communication tool that prevents the brand and can influence consumer purchasing decisions, information, provides instructions for use, handling requirement, and other necessary details can the consumer can have on the packaging. These are the different types of packaging. First is the primary packaging, which is related to the protection of a product. Like if you will keep a edible oil in a container, it protects the oil from pilferage or spoilage. So this is the primary packaging. Secondary packaging is container. When how many bottles of a Pepsi has to be packed in a one package, in a package of 10 bottles or a 12 bottles. So a container that holds multiple primary packages like cardboard box for a group of soda cans or Pepsi bottles. Tertiary packaging used for bulk handling and transport, such as the large shipping containers. You can see the containers, they contain the number of cartons, and one carton having 10 packages of 10 Pepsi. So these are the tertiary packaging. First is primary, second is secondary, and third is the tertiary. Packaging's role in sustainability. Environmental consideration in packaging often follow the waste hierarchy of reduce or reuse or recycle. That is very important part nowadays. You can see that in malls they do not give you the the packet or the paper bag because it is a paid, because they are giving you a costly bag of paper which is many times a better than a plastic bag which is not usable, reusable. So why it is sustainable? Because it minimizing the amount of packaging material used while still ensuring the product is protected from damages or loss. Reuse, encouraging the use of returnable or reusable packaging systems which can economically viable in closed loops logistics. Recycle is very important part, designing packages so that their primary components can be easily reprocessed into a new product. Right? In case of a paper, that can be reused, but in plastic it is very difficult. If you see, the plastics are damaging the environment. The buffaloes, the cow, they are eating the plastics and causing cancer. Example, ensuring materials are easy to separate and do not contaminate receiving steams. Common packaging material, paper and cardboard, plastics, metals, glass. These are the different types of packaging which you use in making packages. Come to the eighth topic, that is concept, nature and scope of product pricing. Product pricing is very important part of any product. Product pricing is the process of setting a monetary value for a product or a service to achieve business goals. It is a strategic process that is influenced by both internal and external factors and extends beyond a simple calculation of cost. So why this is important part of related to the product? Because the product sale depends upon the price you set for a product, and that is depends upon the cost incurred in producing the product. The concept of the product pricing is come to the definition, the process of setting the amount of business charges for its product or services. And the objective means to find the price that covers cost, it attracts the customers and generate profit also. All these three objectives should be met, otherwise the price set for a product is of no value. The strategic role in the price setting is that it's a core part of a marketing mix, the 4 P's: product, price, place and promotion, and is the only one that directly generate revenue. So the marketers give more emphasis on setting the price, and this is also the difficult part of the entire marketing mix, how to set the price of a product so that the product should be sellable and it should not be very costly and it should not show that the product is inferior. And the last is the customer value. Pricing reflects the value a customer perceives in a product related to the cost and cost of alternatives. Here we have discussed the 5 points which explain the nature of the product pricing. Means pricing is dynamic, prices can be changed quickly, and pricing is a complex and flexible decision that impacts sales and profit immediately. Crucial, that is important. It is a central concept in commerce that directly influences a company's success and market position. Balance, it requires balancing business goals, market position, customer expectations, and the financial sustainability of the company. Reflective, pricing reflects not just the cost of a product but also factors like its perceived value, brand image, and the competitive landscape. If we talk about a simple Chinese mobile phone and an iPhone, there is a big difference in the price because the cost is also different. So, and it shows the image that if the price is high, the product is a valuable product. Revenue generating, it is the only one of the 4 P's for marketing that generates revenue, that is price. Scope of product pricing, these are internal factors, cost and company objective. The total cost, production including raw material, labor, overheads is the key determinants. Company objective means pricing is used to achieve strategic goals like maximizing the profitability, increasing sales volume, gaining market share, or simply surviving a crisis. That is important. So these are the 2 internal factors we have to keep in mind while deciding the price, and this comes under the scope of it. What are the external factors? Competitions or competitors. Competitors' price are significant factor. We should have an eye on the products of the competitors, what price they are charging and what price we are charging, and how our product is superior or inferior in the minds of the customers. So that is very important. Market demand, how much customers are willing to pay for our product is a crucial consideration, and this can influence by a product's perceived value and elasticity of demand. Economic conditions, the overall economic climate including inflation and government policies can affect pricing strategy. Marketing scope, product decisions, pricing influence which products are developed and what features they have. Distribution decisions, it impacts where and how a product is to be sold, that is the place. Promotional decision, pricing strategies often work hand in hand with promotional activities. Now come to the pricing policy consideration, that is important part. Pricing policy consideration including internal factors which I have told you, the cost, profit, goals and overall business objective, as well as the external factors such as competitors' pricing, customer demand and government regulations also important, which has been left for discussion. Companies must also consider the perceived value of their product, market conditions and flexibility in the strategy to adjust the change in the market. Internal consideration, cost, profit goals, business objectives, flexibility. External consideration are competition or competitors, customer demand, market condition. What is the market condition? That is very important. If the market is slow, then you have to reduce the price. Government regulation, if government insists you not to increase the price from this limit, then in that case you cannot increase the price or you cannot charge below the government regulations. So in both the cases, the government regulation come across. The strategic approaches, pricing structure decide on an overall strategy such as cost plus value based penetration, premium pricing, demand, depending on the goals of the market conditions. Sales channels adopt pricing policies for different sales value volumes, venues such as wholesale versus retail sales. The price of the wholesaler is different as compared to the retailer's price. Method of adjustment determine how prices will be changed, whether through automated software or a manual process, especially for produced products which of a high sales volume like necessities, impulse products. Pricing objective and strategy are an important part of to study. Pricing objectives are goals like profit maximization, increasing market share or survival, while pricing strategies are the method used to achieve them, such as cost plus, competitive, value-based pricing. To determine the right objectives and strategies, business must analyze their goals, cost, competitors and customer willingness to pay. Here in this diagram, I have one side I have shown the pricing objectives like survival is the objective, maximum current profit, maximizing the market share, market scheming means if you are the introducer of a product quality leadership. These are the 5 important objectives that has to be covered. Types of pricing strategies may be penetrating pricing. If you want to keep your price low initially, then it is penetrating. Scheming pricing just opposite to if there is no competitor, you can set the maximum price of your product. What the Ericsson's did in 1995 94 when the mobile phone was introduced in India. Competition pricing, you have to set the price according to the competitor's price. Product line pricing means if you have different similar product lines, you have to set the different product for different types of customers. Bundle pricing means if a customer buy 10 pieces or 12 pieces, the price will be different. If a consumer buy a single product, the price will be different. Premium pricing means if you are charging a premium pricing for the elite customers, so the price of the product should be set high. Optional pricing means either this price or this price. If you are buying one, then this. If you are buying two, then this. If you are buying two, that the price will be different. Cost based pricing means some certain customers, marketers, they have to charge a very minimum price that is over and above the cost incurred in producing the product. Cost plus pricing is that pricing. Here I have discussed these pricing. Profit maximization, pricing objectives means what? The what? Profit maximization aims to achieve the highest possible profit by balancing price with cost and demand. Market share seeks to increase the company's proportion of total sales in the market, often through lower price to attract more customers. What the Jio did initially. Revenue generation, focus of maximizing total sales revenue, which can be a goal separate from the profit maximization. Survival is also an objective, aims to cover cost only, stay in business, stay in the market, particularly during the downturn or in highly competitive market, or if the market is running slow. Target return sets prices to achieve a specific rate of return on investment ROI. Competitive parity aims to match competitors' price, often to avoid price war, to be seen as comparable options. Prestige or quality, here you can see they give the examples of the iPhone use or the luxury cars like Lamborghini uses high price to single high quality and premium brand image. These are the pricing strategies, means how can you survive into the market. Cost plus pricing, calculate the total cost to produce a product and add some markup or over and above the cost. Competitive pricing bases prices over on what competitors are charging of a similar products or brands available in the market. Value based pricing set price based on the perceived value the product or a service provide to the customers. Price scheming, I have told you initially, that introduces a new product, there is no competition at high initial price and then gradually lower down the price. Penetrating pricing, if you want to set into the market, to set a low initial price to quickly gain market share and then may rise the price, what the Jio did. Psychological pricing is sometime you can say uses pricing practice that appeals to customers psychologically, such as setting the price at 99 instead of 10. है ना? So you can see the different stores. Store 99 means instead of keeping a price of 100 rupees, you can keep 0.99.9. The consumer will see that it is a 2 digit, not the 3 digit amount. Dynamic pricing adjusts prices based on real-time demand, supply, and other market conditions. So these are the pricing strategies which I have discussed here. So thank you so much for being with us, with me, for patiently listening my lecture on different aspects of the product pricing, concept of product line, product weight, product depth, product width, and all these have been explained. I have discussed packaging also, what are the different method of packaging, types of packaging, why packaging is important for a marketer, why packaging, how the packaging the customers see is important for increasing the profitability of the organization. Price, which is the value for generation, means in every aspect of the 4 P's of the marketing you have to invest, but in price you can generate the income from the products. So all these aspects are important, and hope you have learned a lot from that. Thank you so much.